What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of GNG News. We're going to be doing a comparison video today. So the phone just here is the phone that I'm currently using, which is my Samsung Galaxy A71. This phone is my new phone, which is the Huawei P30. Shout out to Phones Data because they are a very great website that you can use to compare your mobile phones. So what is the two difference between these mobile phones? I'm going to tell you. The Samsung Galaxy A71 was released on the 29th of December. The Huawei P30 was released on the March 2019 of that year, so it was released a good substantial amount of months earlier. Dimensions wise, this phone is 163.6 by 76 by 7.7 millimeters. This one is 149.1 by 71.4 by 7.6 millimeters, so it is slightly smaller. So the weight, my previous phone weighs 179 grams and my new phone weighs 165 grams, of course being a lot smaller. This one has a glass front with Gorilla Glass 3. This one unfortunately does not, but it doesn't really matter. They come in a different array of colors. My previous phone has a bigger battery, being 4,500 milliamps, and my new phone has 3,650 milliamps. Roughly their price, so in euros, this one was 680 euros when it was released. This one was around 400 euros. I didn't pay that for either of them because this phone I got for free and this phone I got on a contract. So let's talk about the difference of the screens. Samsung is famous for their Super AMOLED screen, so I'm just going to show you that for a second. Let me just turn the screen on. So as you can see, there's lots of cracks all over my screen as well, hence why I'm getting a new phone. Well, my new phone is just there. So this uses a Super AMOLED Plus screen. This uses a OLED screen. The capability, they both obviously touchscreen phones. They both have a display of 60 million megapixels. The screen size on my previous phone is 6.7 inches. This is 6.1 inches. Screen area, so this is 108.4. This is 91.3. The screen format. This one, obviously, because it is slightly bigger, is 20 by 9. This one is 19 by 5 by 9. Screen body to ratio. So this one, I know it's got the case on it. Let me just take the case off for a second. But this one has a better body to ratio of the screen. So what I mean by that is some phones have a border around them which actually is not fully part of the screen. When you see with this is nearly bezel to bezel. There's only a thin line around it. So there is more screen density to this one. This one has a thicker set of lines around it, as you can see. It doesn't really make too much of a difference. So screen resolution, they're both using 1080 times 240. The screen PPI points per inch. This phone is actually less. It's got 393. This phone is 442. As I previously said before, my Samsung phone has Gorilla Glass. My new phone does not. So the rear camera. This one has a 64 megapixel camera. This one has a 40 megapixel camera. So it's not too much of a downgrade. So camera specs. This one is 64. This one obviously being 40. There's obviously other cameras on there as well. So let me just show you the full specs just so you can see it for yourself. So this is my Samsung. This would be the Huawei. So the Samsung is 64 megapixels, f1.8 by 26 millimeters wide, 1.172, 0.8 pdf, 12 megapixel, and f2.2, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 5 megapixel f2.4, 25 millimeter macro, 1.5.0, 1.11. 5 megapixel. So yeah, there are a big slew of cameras on my previous phones. This one isn't too bad, you know. We still got a 40 megapixel camera, a 16 megapixel camera, and an 8 megapixel camera. Plus we have 3 times optical zoom. I never had optical zoom on my previous phone, so that's something I'm looking forward to using. My previous phone as well has an LED flash, panorama mode, and HDR. My new phone has a dual LED flash, so we have 2 flashes on the new phone. Tone flash, panorama mode, HDR, and a Lectia optics. Video quality, my previous phone took videos in 1160p at 30 frames per second, or 1080p at 30 frames per second with 240 frames per second, or 1080p 960 frames per second with gyro. Whereas the new phone is 1160 at 30 frames per second, 1080p at 60 frames per second, 1080p at 30 frames per second with gyro, or we can also have 720 at 960 FPS. But Samsung are famous for their camera quality, so you know, I can't really moan. Plus this phone cost me £12, so I can't moan at the like what I'm getting. Beautiful phone as well. Both obviously of course have HDR functions. The front camera on both of these phones is 32 megapixels for the front camera, so you know, pretty good. This phone is operating on Android 10. I have upgraded this phone because it was operating on Windows 9, but it is now operating on Android 10 as well. So they're both running Android 10, no problems with that. Graphics processor, this uses Adreno 618, this uses a Mali G76 MP10, so it's not as good, but it's still up to scratch. Micro SD slot, this one can have up to 1 terabyte of dedicated storage space, and this one can only have 256 gigabytes of extra storage space, but it also comes with 128 gigabytes because that is the version of the phone that I have. Okay. They both will take my SIM card, they both will take nano SIM cards, and they're both dual SIM cards as well. Of course, Wi-Fi enabled, GPS enabled, NFC enabled on both. So USB type. Oh, so that's something new. So this was using 2.0 Type-C, 1.0 reversible connector, USB on the go, and this one uses 3.1 Type-C, 1.0 reversible connector. So basically meaning that this phone will be a lot quicker to charge. Radio, they both have radio, they both have headphone ports. Active noise cancellation with dedicated mic on both of them, but this one also has AA Atmos sound. They both obviously have a fingerprint scanner, have a compass, have a gyro, have an accelerometer on there. So why have I got a new phone? Well, let me show you. The reason why I got a new phone is, let me just lock the screen. I don't know if you can see all of these scratches that I have all over my phone. There is a lot of different scratches. I basically smashed the screen up on it, and luckily it still actually works, but it overheats a lot. So I needed to get myself a new phone, and luckily one of my family members was able to give me a phone. Another thing I really love about this phone, I love the color of this. Like, look at this beautiful color, two-tone beautiful color, looks great. Really nice phone. Shout out to my family member for giving that to me. So yeah, that was my little comparison. As you can see them side by side. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you all soon.